Secretary Paulson, welcome back. We're pleased to have you testify before our Budget Committee, partly because we know how busy you've been. And in that vein, let me thank you for the role in particular that you played in formulating a stimulus bill and helping us pushing it through to passage. All sides had to make concessions, and most of us have ideas on how we could have improved the package, but it's a good measure, which I think meets the test we set forth. It's timely, it's temporary, it's targeted, and let's hope it's a boost to our sagging economy. Today we want to discuss with you the President's budget for fiscal 2009. In particular, we hope that you will elaborate on the administration's current outlook on the economy and budget deficits given the stimulus that we've just passed. We find that the budget for 2009 bears the hallmarks of previous budgets from this administration. It has more tax cuts. It has, as a result, more deficits and more debt in the near term, offset by what we look upon as some draconian cuts in Medicare and Medicaid, and smaller but significant cuts in things such as the Social Services Block Grant and the Community Services Block Grant, two of the pillars of the safety net. When President Bush took office, he inherited a budget that was in surplus. In his first budget message, he proclaimed that his budget would retire, quote, $1 trillion over his next, nearly $1 trillion over the next 4 years, an accomplishment that he touted as, quote, the largest debt reduction ever achieved by any nation at any time. But by the year 2004, the surplus was gone, replaced by a deficit of $413 billion. In nominal terms, this was the largest deficit in American history. And we're here today in the administration's final year. Instead of retiring $1 trillion in debt, the policies of this administration will increase the debt by $4 trillion by the time the President steps down. So if we're a little skeptical of the budget before us, you can attribute it to 6 years of watching targets be set and missed by a wide margin. For fiscal 2009, the administration proposes a deficit of $477 billion, very near the record debt in 2004. But in calculating this deficit, the administration has inserted a $70 billion plug for the cost-fighter deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan and provided nothing at all thereafter. The administration has also assumed that the alternative minimum tax will be fully in effect after 2008, affecting in particular middle-income taxpayers, and in effect reclaiming with one hand the tax cuts that are extended with the other. We don't understand why the administration emphasizes or prioritizes the extension of the 2001 and 2003 tax cuts, which don't expire until 12/31/2010, over and above a permanent fix to the AMT, which is needed immediately, this year, next year, and so on. At least 3 administration witnesses have sat where you sit and told us that the AMT can be reformed and should be reformed and should be and can be reformed within the tax code on a revenue-neutral basis without any effect on the bottom line. I've asked the Bush administration for the past couple of years to lay out such a proposal, its proposal for permanently fixing the AMT, but the administration never released such a plan. Instead, the administration rejected Mr. Rangel's revenue-neutral AMT proposals last year, both the broad permanent reform and the one-year patch, and seems fundamentally opposed to any such reforms done in a revenue-neutral way. The administration uses AMT revenues to cloak the size of its forthcoming tax cuts. By understating spending and overstating revenues, we believe that this budget understates the deficit, which is large enough at over $400 billion. But if realistic adjustments are made for our deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan, not $70 billion, but a real number, if the AMT is adjusted so that it does not apply to middle-income taxpayers, and everybody in this room would agree it was not intended for that purpose and should not be used for that purpose, then by our calculation, the deficit under this administration policies rises well above $440 billion and sets a new record. This still does not account for the possibility that the economy may actually be weaker than your forecast assumes, even after any positive boost that the stimulus package may have provided. Faced with huge deficits and mounting debt, President Reagan changed the thrust of his budget by signing TEFRA in 1982 and then by signing Graham-Rubin-Hollings in 1985. The first President Bush agreed to a budget summit and signed into law the resulting 5-year plan. President Clinton made deficit reduction his top priority. Within a month of taking office, February the 17th, He sent Congress a 5-year plan to cut the deficit by more than half. 5 years later, he finished the job with the Balanced Budget Act of 1997, which put the budget in surplus for the first time in 30 years. This administration has run larger deficits than the Reagan administration or the Bush administration or the Clinton administration. Yet, unlike its predecessors, it's offered us no grand solution, no offer of negotiation, anything except the budgets that look increasingly alike from year to year. Indeed, and I mean this as no criticism of you, I admire the work you've done, but it seems to us that taken as a whole, far from proposing a plan to fix the budget this year, the administration is proposing policies that will worsen it, and leaving the consequences for the next administration and the next generation.